This is a review video of the $25 Behringer Tube Amp Modeler. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. It is time to give you my opinions on the Behringer pedal. I'm sure some of you have seen the sound sample video I released a couple weeks ago, but now we're gonna get down to the nitty-gritty because in that video I didn't really tell you my thoughts on the sound samples. And I'm also gonna kind of go over the pedal, show you a few things, and talk about the build quality. All right, and before we get into all of that, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel grow a ton and it's totally free to do. And if you want to continue to support the channel, in the description below, there are links to my music, my website, my Instagram, things like that. And if you were to pop on over to Spotify and save one of my albums to your library, that would be amazing. All right, so first things first, the price. For $25, you can't expect much. I feel like you can't buy much of anything these days for $25. And to be able to buy a guitar pedal for $25, that seems like a pretty good deal just right off the bat. So for the price, I definitely give it a thumbs up. So flexibility wise, looking at it, you have 4 knobs and 3 switches. And the switches, you have your options between your microphone, your mod, and your amp. You'd think between all those things, you would have a lot of flexibility when it comes to sound with this pedal. I kind of found out that was not the case. It seemed like the Brit and California amp were just kind of a similar, really overdriven signal. But with the Tweed, I felt like there was more flexibility on that amp setting. I mean, you could argue the mod had a decent bit of flexibility, but that's obviously going from kind of a clean to a heavy distortion. So of course you're gonna have some sort of difference there. So flexibility, I don't really give it a thumbs up or thumbs down, just kind of whatever. Okay, let's talk about how it looks and the build quality. It looks very generic. There's a lot of really cool guitar pedals out there these days. And this one is just straightforward and very simple. Again, $25, what can you expect from that? And when holding the pedal, you notice right away that it is pretty cheap. It is a plastic pedal. The knobs are kind of hard to turn. The switches feel okay, but overall, it's pretty cheap feeling. On the bottom, there's kind of like a rubber or like a hard plastic to help it from sliding. But overall, the build quality, again, for $25, kind of give it a thumbs down. And one thing I really did not like about this pedal is if you were wanting to put a battery in it, there's these 2 buttons on the side that you need to press and it pops the top cover off, which sounds very straightforward, but I had to use a ballpoint pen to do it and I ended up breaking the pen in the process. So if you were playing a live show and for some reason you needed to swap out batteries really quick, you might be screwed. But again, if you're not planning on ever running a battery in this like myself, not a big deal. So one thing I wish this pedal came with, but I'm not gonna really hold it against it because not every pedal comes with it, is a daisy chain output for power. It's more of just an extra bonus if you have a guitar pedal that has those. So not really a strike against it, but it would have been cool to have that. Okay, now for my thoughts on the way this pedal sounded. So this is a guitar pedal and I thought it sounded pretty on guitar. Wasn't really a fan of any of the sounds I could get out of it. I tried it on a heavy guitar, I tried it on a clean guitar, a medium guitar. I tried it on a couple different settings and it just never really gave me a sound that I could use it for, unless I wanted something incredibly radical. But one thing I did kind of enjoy it on was bass guitar and things like a snare drum. I would actually probably recommend this for someone who plays bass who's looking for a distortion pedal on the cheap. It didn't absolutely obliterate the sound of the bass, where with guitar I felt like it overtook the sound that I was putting into it in a negative way. I was running it through my Fractal Axe effects and it kind of just butchered the sound that I had set up with that, and this took over and this does not sound as good as my Fractal. But when I ran it with a bass guitar, it just seemed to work way better with that. And then for other things like a snare drum, if you're wanting just a crazy snare sound or a kick drum or something kind of a lo-fi, overdriven, this actually might not be too bad to run an effects loop if you're running in a studio. So the question is, am I going to keep this pedal? I think the answer is yes. You can't get anything for $25 anymore. And I love having things like this around that you can just mess with. Will I ever run a guitar through it? Probably not. But are there gonna be times where I have a project that calls for a dirty bass that this might work really well with? Absolutely. Or if I'm wanting a really dirty snare drum that sounds kind of funky, I might use this. Because the way I plan on utilizing this is I'm setting up a guitar pedal or whatever kind of pedal this is as an effects loop with my DAW. So I'll be able to use pedals like this, just like a piece of offboard gear. So that is my review of the $25 Behringer Tube. All right, so I'm sitting here editing this video and I realized I did not give a very clear answer on if you should buy this pedal or not. If you're planning on using it on guitar, do not buy it. If you're planning on using it on bass, I would buy it. If you're planning on using it on other instruments, I think I'd buy it as well. Okay, hope that clears some things up. back to the video. Tube Amp Modeler. Overall, would I recommend it? I don't know. If you're someone who's looking to buy multiple pedals, I would say take that money and put it into one good pedal versus maybe 3 or 4 mediocre ones. But if you happen to just be bored and want something like this just to add to your collection to have in your back pocket to use on one song once a year, I say go for it. I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, please like the video and subscribe to the channel and leave your comments below on what you think about this pedal. And if you have one, I'd really love to hear what you think about it, or if you've listened to the sound samples and you agree or disagree with my take on them, let me know below in the comments. All right, till next time, see you later.